Hi everybody, I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture.com.
And I'm Adam Nicholas from WhatCulture.com, here to bring you all of today's wrestling news, including the two winners of the Money in the Bank briefcase matches from last night's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. As well as that, two people were thrown off the building last night. I wonder if they've landed yet. AJ Styles has also teased a rematch with The Undertaker, and WWE Backlash pay-per-view date has been set by WWE.
And then I'm going to come through and I'm actually going to start. I don't know why I said that, but I'm going to tell you all the Easter eggs and the cameos you need to know from the Money in the Bank match itself. The Money in the Bank pay-per-view was also the shortest WWE pay-per-view in over a decade. I'm going to tell you about that. Then we're going to pivot over somewhere else and talk about stuff I've forgotten about. Oh yes, Seth Rollins' new entrance theme, as well as the unlikely Roman Reigns cameo, sort of, from the pay-per-view itself. This is the news. I can't do the Wilborn thing because he is much better than me at life. Let's talk about the Money in the Bank ladder match. Let's talk about all the crazy cameos, the Easter eggs, as this match went all the way from the bottom of Titan Towers up to the top. We had a bunch of fun stuff here. We had, I guess this is an Easter egg. You know how Otis loves steaks and weights? Well, guess what? He trapped AJ Styles under a weight. Good. Brother Love was there. He was hanging out in a bathroom. Rey Mysterio went in and he said, "I love you," and he did his catchphrase and he washed his hands because he's obeying guidance. Good boy, Brother Love. We also had Doink the Clown, sort of. I say Doink the Clown, it was a guy with clown makeup and a nice grey shirt popping up behind a chair while Daniel Bryan and Otis were kicking the pee out of each other. AJ Styles kind of called back to his Boneyard match for The Undertaker. Remember on Monday, AJ Styles was a man who no-sold death on Raw. Well, last night he sold for a poster. Good. Looked inside the room, there was a casket in there. Nice little shout out. Paul Heyman was there and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul." And then there was a food fight. It was weird. John Laurinaitis was in this match. Rolled up in a motor scooter to Otis, did his catchphrase, got a pie in his face. But I've saved the best for last. The best return, the best cameo anyone could have hoped for last night was that of Moppy! Moppy was back on WWE programming for the first time in decades. Was used as a weapon by Asuka, after which, Dana Brooke fell over and stuff. But great to see the legend Moppy back on our show. Wonder if that'll lead to a Hall of Fame induction, overdue, of course. Adam Nicholas, what do you think of all the crazy, weird things and Brother Love in the bathroom?
Do you know what it is? There was a lot of things people were expecting from this, and I guarantee you nobody was expecting Brother Love to come out of a bathroom. But he did wash his hands though, which was quite good. Although I saw Brian Gewirtz on Twitter basically saying all of this was believable right up until the point where he washed his hands. Brother Love would never wash his hands, which maybe that speaks more about what we don't know about Brother Love behind the scenes, Andy Murray.
Yeah, you gotta wash your hands after you go to the bathroom, man. Come on, Brother Love,
Come on, brother.
That. But yeah, Moppy, man, keeping it clean to me. I think I made a little bit too much about a bloody mop being in the match, but
It was hard to tell, but you can't really rate it out there. I'm pretty sure it could well have been the return. Maybe Moppy was trying to get into the match, Andy Murray.
Who knows, man? Who knows?
But as you may or may not know, Andy, Moppy didn't win last night. I did feel that she could have been included, but she was not one of the Money in the Bank winners last night. However, there were two, and I've got them both for you here. So, how are we doing this these days? Are we telling them for spoilers, or is it assumed that you're coming for the spoilers today?
I think if you're watching this video with this title and this thumbnail, you kind of know anyway, don't you? You know this
they're coming, so be prepared. In case you don't want to know, bizarrely, you've clicked on this video. Anyway, the two winners from the Money in the Bank last night were, and the women's, we had Asuka, who is now your Money in the Bank briefcase winner. Mrs. Money in the Bank, I can't remember how they do it these days. Yeah. She has the briefcase, and she's probably the best person for it in my mind. She's mad, she's crazy, and she's the hardest woman there. Although Shayna Baszler didn't even make it to the roof last night, which was quite disappointing. But at the end of the day, Asuka is your women's Money in the Bank briefcase winner. And on the men's side of things, Andy Murray, rejoice, because it's all about those sticks and weights. Because Otis is your Money in the Bank winner for the men's Money in the Bank match. Despite many other people trying some things, we're going to get to a few casualties along the way in just a second. But yes, Otis and Asuka are your winners. Andy Murray, what do you think of that?
So this is weird,
Yeah.
right? This is really weird. They didn't go for the betting favourites, which I think would have been Shayna Baszler and AJ Styles. And they didn't go for the nuclear troll options of Nia Jax and Baron Corbin as well, which they could have done. They've gone for Asuka, and no one's going to bloody complain about Asuka. She's great. She has been maybe the WWE MVP of the empty arena era, I think, anyway.
Yeah.
And Otis is just fun. It's wacky. It's different. It's like, it feels like the first time in a long time that they've given it to like just a mid-card guy. And that's cool because he's been the recipient of one of the better presentations in 2020. The Mandy Rose storyline has been very well done. And, you know, lots of people are latching onto the guy. I really love this. I like that they've crowned Otis the bank manager. That's why I'm calling the briefcase holder now. Looking forward to seeing what he does, man. I can't imagine he's going to win the world title. I think something will happen, but it's a cool moment for him. And, you know, we criticize this company for not taking chances on you guys quite a lot, so fair play to them.
I think they've obviously gone a bit, what you could probably call fan service with these two picks. But Otis in particular feels like, I think they've noticed there's a lot of fan support for Otis, man. Like we saw with the Mandy Rose storyline, the guy gets a reaction, people are kind of invested in him, and whether or not he wins in the end is probably irrelevant. The fact that he's even being considered could mean he gets a decent match. And as me and you spoke about many times, Andy Murray, the match he had in NXT with Tommaso Ciampa, that singles match, was a brilliant match. Shows he can actually definitely 100% wrestle at that level if he needs to, and I'd like to see more of it.
Absolutely, man. Love the Otis. Love the outcome. Let's see what he does.
Indeed.
One of the more interesting talking points, I think, well, coming out, depending on your views, if you like long shows, maybe not. Money in the Bank was the shortest WWE pay-per-view in 14 years. That's nuts.
Wow.
So if you cut off, you're talking about the main card only here, right? 2 hours and 24 minutes. Only had like 6 matches. Crazy. You compare this to other recent short pay-per-views. Fastlane 2018 was 2 hours 42. No Mercy 2016 was 2 hours 36. But you have to go back to ECW December to Dismember. And why the hell would you go back to that for any other reason? In 2006 for a shorter main card. 2 hours and 14 minutes for that. And my God, did it feel like at least double that. But if you don't want to count that ECW show as a WWE event for whatever reason, you have to go back even further. Insurrection 2002.
Wow.
So this is a good move. I think like they were wise to kind of have the main event dominate the whole thing, but empty arena wrestling without the energy of the crowd, it is a little bit tougher to get through those longer shows. Big move for me. I thought the show absolutely flew by as a result, and I hope this is the norm at least until the fans come back.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, to be honest. I think there's no reason for it to be like 4 hours, 5 hours. There's absolutely no reason for that. It's difficult enough to put on these matches as is. And to be honest, if you're going to find ways to keep the fans entertained and fan service them, surely shorter pay-per-views is another way they can tick that box, Andy Murray.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Keep people happy, keep people, you know, give people less things to complain about. That's kind of what I want in this empty arena era. It's becoming pretty tedious, brothers. Obviously complain about things that are worth being complained about, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, nice, short, snappy show. More of these. It was shorter than Raw, for God's sake.
It was shorter than an episode of Monday Night Raw. That is incredible. Speaking of people who are shorter than Monday Night Raw, Andy Murray, shall we talk about the two people who got thrown off the top of WWE's tower last night? Because that was quite something. Now, look, a lot of people are going to criticise, like, if you nitpick this show, I don't know, I feel like you need to just go in a different direction, man. There's so much more we could be nitpicking about life at this time. This was just done for comedy, it was done for daft stuff, and this was probably the most daft out of all of it. AJ Styles had, of course, hinted and suggested that perhaps maybe a few people would get thrown off the WWE's towers. Well, they did, and it was, ironically, the exact two people that he suggested, only he wasn't the one doing the throwing. Yes, last night, both Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black were thrown off the top of WWE's tower Now, for all the cinematic stuff we saw in this as well, you're probably thinking, well, maybe we got this amazing shot of them falling down the side of the building or something. We didn't. They got thrown off into the abyss by Baron Corbin and disappeared, and perhaps, Andy Murray, we won't be seeing them for quite some time, or maybe they'll just turn up on Raw tonight completely unfazed.
Well, established pro wrestling canon for this is Halloween Havoc 1994. when the Big Show, the Giant as he was known back then, was thrown off the top of the WCW building by Hulk Hogan, presumably to his death, and then showed up for a match with Hulk Hogan in the arena less than an hour later, not even hurt. So I think they're probably fine. This is bizarre and weird. Like, I did really appreciate the stupid cartoon sound effect when they went over the top, like a whoop. I was hoping they'd go for like a squish or a splat or something, but you know, I'll take it. Yeah, this was the kind of silliness that I expected from this match, and I'm kind of happy we got it. Ray and Aleister Black, maybe not the guys I would have gone with, but hey, it was fun.
No, probably not the guys I would have gone with either, but the one trick they missed here, surely, was just like that long falling down a well screaming sound of like, ah! as they disappeared. We didn't get that. But yeah, you know what it is. Look, it was dumb, fun, and I guess give it to Baron Corbin, chucking 2 people off the building. Wonderful stuff. Like you say, they'll probably be on Raw tonight. And hey, Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio will probably be wrestling each other in a match. Who knows?
Exactly. Hey man, if we get the extended director's cut of the footage and it has Rey Mysterio going booyaka as he falls away,
pick a fight
all the
with
more.
me,
all the way to the ground, baby. Seth Rollins has a new entrance theme. That's it. That's the story. You know, he came out to a new track last night. It wasn't the metalcore thing that he had before the Second Coming. He'd been using that since 2014, I think. So a 6-year lifespan, but the new song is something entirely more messianic, fitting of the Monday Night Messiah character. It had the strings, the choral vocals, the mid-paced drums. You know, a really good modern ring entrance, the old one, but, you know, this is a bit more fitting of the character, I think.
Yeah, I think it suits better, doesn't it? I think the Burn It Down track as well kind of is more of a fan thing these days, or was certainly when he was a face. So I think this is the right move, to be honest, and it kind of completes the package for me with the whole Messiah gimmick. And dare I say it, Andy Murray, he's doing some alright stuff these days, and actually the match with Drew McIntyre was just as good, so maybe the entrance music will help him along the way. Who bloody knows?
Yeah, another good step for a good character, I think.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Speaking of a good character, Andy Murray, AJ Styles. Now, we may have, anybody who's watching might have noticed a few things that happened last night. AJ Styles was amongst those who uncovered quite a few of the Easter eggs that my good colleague Andy Murray mentioned. One of which was, of course, the poster of The Undertaker, which nearly scared Styles half to death, as Andy said, the man who literally walked back from death the other week. Who opened a room to find Undertaker coffin and an urn as well, which was quite fascinating. Lots of stuff suggested perhaps that these two might go at it again. Well, that was also reinforced on WWE's The Bump. Styles was talking on there in an interview and said the following with regards to a potential rematch with the Dead Man. He said, I definitely think it was a different side of AJ Styles, and not only Styles, but The Undertaker, obviously. Not only is the Money in the Bank match unique, but so was the Boneyard match. It was different. I gotta be honest with you guys, I can't take credit for, the situation that we're in. We were put in a position to be put in an unbelievable encounter, The Undertaker and I. The situations are what they are. Again, you take advantage of them. And Ari, that potential round 2, he said, if there's ever a chance for me to get my hands on The Undertaker again, I would gladly take him out, no problem. Obviously, it is a problem, but I'm looking forward to it. So, lots of clarity there, Andy Murray.
Yeah, he's all over the place. I love it, though. I mean, I would take a return to the Boneyard. Why not? It was fun. Big, goofy, kind of, not even B movie. It was like a D movie. It was funny. Like, I got a big kick out of that match, and I'd like to see it again. So,
me too.
Fingers crossed. My final story here, little Roman Reigns sighting on the pay-per-view last night, brothers. AJ Styles walking down the hallway. What does he pass? It's a print of Roman's ring entrance at WrestleMania 34. This is kind of notable because last week Roman came out and said, I'm not off TV because I'm immunocompromised. I'm off it because I want to be with my family. So the original Ryan Satin report about his immunocompromised status was inaccurate. Yada, yada, yada. Looks like the conspiracy theories are just a load of bollocks. And the report from Dave Meltzer, perhaps, about Vince just kind of doing what the hell Vince wants and deciding what he's going to do and how he's going to handle Roman, depending on how he wakes up, seems to be accurate. He's not been deleted from history. He was on the wall, but they still showed that top 10 countdown on the kickoff show where he was kind of edited out, which is weird. It's a strange situation, is what I'm saying.
it's a strange situation in general at the moment, but this is also a strange situation within a strange situation. Listen, as long as Roman Reigns is all right and we get him back when he's ready, that works for me, brother.
Hell yeah,
Absolutely.
Me too, baby.
But a pay-per-view that's coming up very soon that we may see him at, I guess is a tie-in, which doesn't really work, but hey, let's go with it anyway. WWE Backlash, you may recall, is a pay-per-view for WWE. However, you won't have seen it for quite some time because it hasn't been a pay-per-view that they've done since 2018, ironically, featuring Roman Reigns, where we had that Beat the Traffic chant, I think it was, where he was having the match with Samoa Joe. It was all a bit of a disaster, and myself and Adam Wilborn did the live stream for that, and I will never forget it. However, exciting times lie ahead, because apparently Backlash is coming back to making a return, and the pay-per-view date has been set, was announced last night, and it is June the 14th, and it'll be at the Performance Centre, as all of the shows have been recently. I guess Andy Murray may be recorded ahead of time, depending on the circumstances and how they're doing it these days, although maybe it'll be live as is. I'm not entirely sure with regards to that. Do you know any more?
I do not. I assume that this will fall into the elaborate taping schedule that they outlined and they're working through. Backlash is back. I mean, it's a pay-per-view. Hey!
It is a pay-per-view.
Hopefully it'll have some kind of cinematic thing to kind of be... I mean, those things are cool and they're fun and there's something to look forward to. So fingers crossed.
Absolutely.
Let's get to these Twitter questions. We're going to blast through these today. Maybe, probably not, but maybe. First one comes from Jake 4 Jakes Greedy, who asks, like any sane person, I love Otis, but do you think he needs to get a new finisher if he's going to be a top guy? I enjoy the Caterpillar, but it feels more like a signature move like Kofi's Boom Drop or Cena's 5-Knuckle Shuffle. I think that's probably a good thing, yes. If you want to credibly put away big names, yeah, Caterpillar's fun, it's awesome, but I'm not sure if a worm-like finisher kind of cuts it in 2020.
I like the worm a lot, and the Caterpillar, sorry, I like it a lot. I kind of see your point, but at the same time, I also think it's Otis, it's dumb, and I think people would it's more of an iconic moment for me if Otis gets the win and does that. Do you know what I mean? That's something I'll remember more than him being like, here's a serious finisher now for me, because I'm Otis, and I wear a suit now.
Yeah, I do a burning hammer. Nice question. Thank you for sending that in.
Thank you.
Everything Fights asks, what do you think about Asuka cashing in on Charlotte to become NXT champion, getting her revenge from WrestleMania 34, and setting up a long-term program with Io Shirai where Shirai wins the title? Yes, thank you. Cash my check and I will give you my wallet through the screen. Yes.
I wish I had... This is the only time I've ever wished I had like a random bunch of like $1 bills here that I could just throw in the air, because that is money. That is absolute money. I hadn't even thought about that prospect, and thank you for that question. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Let's do that.
Great shout. Thank you very much. And our last question comes to us from Groovy. Yes, who asks, what are the chances Otis gives his briefcase to Mandy? Seems unlikely that he's a credible championship threat, but Mandy certainly would be. I think there is a very strong chance, and I think that will cause all kinds of commotion with the other women who were in the match. Sorry. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I think actually, I do also think that might be a case. Adam clearly mentioned this the other week, and I kind of think it sounds like something they'll do. I'd like to see Otis, as we've said already, I'd like to see Otis kind of given a shot, and even if he just gets to put on a decent match, would be my preferred choice, but I can see why they would put the tie-in with Mandy Rose, and he's just a good egg, isn't he? He's a good egg, a lovely guy, and I'm sure he'd do something nice for Mandy.
Plus, it would give Sonya Deville another reason to be pissed off, and she's really good at being pissed off.
She is.
That would be good. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us today. The and finally today is nothing. I couldn't find one. I've been Andy Murray. You can follow us on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. Send us your questions, hashtag this is the news. You can find Adam Nicholas on Twitter at
It's Adam Nicholas.
And you can find me on Twitter at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for H because... mailing it in for the outro.
Sounds
Bye.
Like how about an and finally next week? Hey. Goodbye.
Bye.